The SANDF Chief General Rudzani Maphwanya says they are still working hard to ensure that the SANDF members still stuck in the Eastern DRC are brought back home. He spoke to the SABC News on the margins of the SANDF Easter service in Thaba Tshwane in Pretoria. Recently, SADC leaders called for the withdrawal of SAMIDRC in the Eastern Congo. Khayelihle Khumalo has more.
Well, certainly quite a very important occasion here in Pretoria. As you know that it's Easter, so there has been quite a very poignant service here, really just reflecting on the period. As you know that SANDF does have a very important role to play inside the borders and even outside South Africa. But joining us now is the chief of the SANDF, General Maphwanya. Once again, thank you so much indeed, General, for your time. Let's look at the significance of this ceremony, especially where you're reflecting on this year, where you started on the very somber note with those developments in Eastern DRC.
Thank you, Kai, and the viewers. Today's service is a very critical one, primarily because we are paying homage to those who have fallen. We take cue from the fact that Easter, it's a period of sacrifice. In the Christian community, that is the time when Christ was crucified, and therefore that is the supreme sacrifice that it's made for everyone to be redeemed. So we also take cue from that, because the soldiers that are deployed, they make supreme sacrifice because they have opted to be patriotic, serve in the defense force, and be prepared to lay down their lives. So this is the period when we dedicate to the lives of those that we have lost in the course of performing their duties. At the same time, we are also reminding both those who are deployed in the borders and those that are deployed internally, as well as those that are deployed outside, to say, in whatever that you are doing, it is for the good of the nation, and therefore the people of South Africa are with you, and we as the leadership would like to reaffirm our commitment to saving and allowing you to optimize on what we have sent you out to do.
General, obviously the topical issue, the situation in the eastern parts of DRC, you're part of SAMIDRC, albeit with a withdrawal in phases. So far, can you just give us an update? How far is that process in terms of making sure that the troops do return in South Africa?
Thank you. Again, there have been efforts. Maybe I should start off by indicating that we went to Eastern DRC for the sole purpose to ensure that there is peace and stability in Eastern DRC. And as such, as a SADC mission, SADC had several summits prior to the deployment. And when we have now identified that there is a little bit of resemblance of what can be said to be moving towards a peaceful resolution of the conflict, with the understanding from all the peace process and diplomatic efforts that there is a need for cessation of hostilities, and thus allowing that negotiations and other peace efforts can go on. We therefore had the leadership of SADC coming together, giving clear guidance to say we need to start off considering withdrawal of SAMIDRC. And that led to preparations that were put in place. There were specific instructions that were issued by the leadership of the region. The first one is that we should at least get an unconditional acceptance that there is ceasefire. And that is the first condition that they have said, because they said SADC is there to ensure that there is peace. But if there is ceasefire, therefore, we will have moved much closer to the ideal that we went to DRC for. So after the summit, they have given the instruction to the chiefs of the defense forces of the region to go and engage with the M23. And on that note, the members of the SADC troop contributing countries plus the SADC Troika went to Goma. I was amongst those chiefs of the defense forces that went to Goma. We had a meeting with the leadership of M23, and on that side, they were led by Sultan Makeng, who actually is the military leader of M23. We then started off by indicating what the SADC would like to see. And the first one is a commitment to unconditional ceasefire and cessation of hostilities throughout the Eastern DRC. That was accepted. The second issue was to allow SAMIDRC to withdraw without any hindrance, personnel and equipment. That principle was also equally accepted. And the third issue was also in terms of the facilitation of that withdrawal, and that came to the issue of saying, now that Goma International Airport is not in a good position, what do we do? So we ended up saying, let us look at the ways of rehabilitating Goma Airport. But that issue cannot be completed at the moment because the agreement was that we will get teams that will go there. But remember, whilst this conflict is going on, there is a need for a dialogue which is inclusive, that includes also the DRC. So therefore, we cannot continue with certain activities without going the route of engaging the DRC on that matter.